السلام عليكم شباب وكل سنة وانتم طيبين. as I promised, this is like now off and it's very good time to record these lectures again for all of you, because I do believe this course is very important. Although to some of you it might be a little bit tough, but no way out. You should understand it, work hard, practice it, try to be like a real researcher. It's very important because there is no way out. There's no way out. Although you feel it's like very tough, rough and ugly enough for you, but believe me, there is no way out. And I'm trying to do my best to make it like that for you, to make it a little bit that easy for you and understandable. But you need to help me, help me by working hard and trying to understand what you are saying and to apply it to a real situation. Because here we are just dealing with some, the suggestive format of writing the research. If you want to write it in a good way, because you should, because you are a graduate and you're going to write the research by the end of this year, academic year. So if you don't try to apply practically what we just came across during this course, believe me, this will lead you to nowhere. So this lecture number 2, if you remember, we explained a lot, or we talked a lot about what's qualitative and what's quantitative and what does each word mean or term mean. And hope that right now understands what I mean by quantitative and qualitative and what are the methodologies for each. There are certain methodologies which we call them qualitative methodologies. There are certain methodologies which we call them quantitative methodologies. So when we deal with questionnaire, which is one of the quantitative methodologies, most of the time it is quantitative methodology. But we have like two types of questionnaire, either open-ended questionnaire or closed-ended questionnaire. This approach means implementing elements of post-questionnaire types into your data collection. You want to, as we mentioned, questionnaire is one of the data collection method. So in this case, participants may answer some questions with pre-made answers. Pre-made answers mean are given choices, and then the participants are going to choose from those options. Answers are write their own answers to the other questions. So simply open-ended question I explained it a lot by the way. Open-ended questions ما هي الأسئلة بتكون بادية ب WH question, they where, when, why, and so on. And in this case, we are going to answer them openly. So there is no a certain option that you just select because it suits your interest or it suits your understanding. الكلوز ended بيكون دائما بيدوك سؤال وفيه خيارات زي ما شرحنا في المحاضرة الأخيرة. السودانيين يحبون مثلا الفول. نعم، لا، بدا close ended questionnaire. لأنه ناس حيقولوا نعم، ناس حيقولوا لا. لكن لو قلنا لك ماذا يحب السودانيون، ده سؤال open ended. هتقول فول، هتقول طعمية، هتقول whatever. ده open ended questionnaire. باقي معظم الكويستشن بيكون close ended لأنه بيدوك options زي ما عرفنا الاوبشنز الخمسة اللي المفروض نتعرف عليهم، اللي هو strongly agree, strongly disagree, not sure or neutral. خمسة ديل هما اللي بدوني they make this questionnaire close ended question. This makes it clear. We need to know what's the difference between primary data and secondary data. Primary data is what you collected for your research. What you collected to conduct your research. So if you want to conduct a research, you need data. For sure, if you want to conduct any research, you cannot conduct it, you cannot make it, you cannot design it unless you have data. لهم كتير يا جماعه ماده تتعامل عليه علشان تعمل بحثك ده. لو عايز اعمل بحث عن اي حاجه لازم يكون عندي داتا معروفه عندي ابحث فيها. The primary data is any original information that you collect from the purposes for the purpose of answering your research question. يكون surveys, ممكن يكون observations, ممكن يكون experiment. If the primary data is any original information, أي information that you collect either by surveys, observations, experiments will become a primary data. You collect it as a researcher. You conduct a questionnaire, you collect data. This data is called primary. You make or you design a survey, you collect data from it. This is called primary data. You did an experiment and then you collect data according to that. This is called primary data or data. A secondary data or data is information that has already been collected by other researchers. This data is all this data is already there, and then you just go and use it. You didn't collect it yourself as a researcher. It's being collected by someone else's, and it's there, found there, available there, and then you go and make use of it because you feel it has to do with your own research. Like in a government census or previous scientific studies, any studies, previous studies, you go and find out. So this is not your research. This is not what you did as a researcher. This is being done by someone else, and then you go and use it because you have it has some link with your research. So this is called secondary data. Build primary data, secondary data, and data into what you did as a research, and then you collect data through. If there is there is a data already being there, where it's been researched or collected by someone else, and then you go and use it. This is called primary data, secondary data. Primary data, secondary data. You need to understand. You need to make sure that how am I using primary data or secondary data or both. إن البرايمري داتا دايما حابب تجمع عندك كباحث تجمعها كباحث تعمل تجربة أو أي واحدة من الميثودولوجيز اللي احنا اتكلمنا عنها. Any of the methodologies that we came across either quantitative or qualitative. When you conduct one of those and then you collect data, it is called primary data. عمل انت كريسيرش. إذا أصلا ما استفدت من أي معلومات متاحة أصلا عبر تجربة علمية أو عبر أي دراسة سابقة موجودة أصلا وجماعة شخص آخر أنت أستفيد منها، دي اسمها secondary data. So you need for living to identify either you are going to use primary data or secondary data. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter either use primary or secondary or both. What matters is the quality of the data that you are using in your research. So I hope this makes it clear. For example, if you are exploring a novel research question, you will probably need to collect primary data. But if you want to synthesize existing knowledge, analyze historical trends, or identify patterns on a large scale, secondary data might be a better choice. This is an example of how we can use primary or secondary data. If you are exploring a novel research question, you'll probably need to collect primary data because you are going to ask people about their opinion about the novel. You need to conduct a questionnaire, an interview, or whatever that helps you to collect data about exploring the novel. But if you want to synthesize existing knowledge or analyze historical trends, they are all there. Or identify patterns on a large scale, any kind of patterns, secondary data might be a better choice. Yeah, yeah. Apart from this example, you know, which is meant by primary and secondary data, which I just explained in the previous slide, is just like when you use other research, when you conduct, when you as the researcher collect the data by using one of the methodologies. If you use any other methodology, if you use any other data which is not being collected by you as the researcher, it's called secondary data, and this is, I guess, understandable and straightforward. There are some theoretical framework or theoretical, you know, background that research must understand very well. It's very important to know what's meant by deductive reasoning. Reasoning. How am I going to work? Am I going to work from the more general to more specific when we are conducting a research? When you are doing it, are you going to do it deductively or inductively? Deductive reasoning or deductive method means works from the more general to more specific. Sometimes this informally called a top-down approach. A top-down approach. You might begin with thinking of a theory about our topic of interest. Think out theoretically about it. We then narrow that down into more specific hypothesis that we can test. We narrow down even further when we collect observations to address the hypothesis. This ultimately leads us to be able to test the hypothesis with specific confirmation or not of our original theory. Symbols, let me make it that very clear for you. انت when you begin لما تبدا كفكره تبدا الحاجه كفكره عامه، بعد ذاك تحدد في هذه الفكره العامه حاجه اكثر دقه مبنيه على فرضيات، بعد ذاك you come and test الفرضيات دي عن طريق الملاحظه بس. يسمى شنو؟ انت بديت من حاجه عامه وماشي تقل يعني تنارو داون الفكره دي لحد ما وصلت شنو لحاجه محدده. مثلا انا عايز اتكلم عن مثلا عن تدريس اللغه الانجليزيه بالسودان، لان دي الفكره العامه. طيب تدريس اللغه الانجليزيه مثلا النظريه بتقول تدرس اللغه الانجليزيه في السودان، شويه لازم تعمل نارمينج داون الحاجه دي، ما فكره عامه ضيقه يعني عشان ما عشان تقدر ريسيرش. اقول والله يا اخي تدريس اللغه الانجليزيه لمثلا سكان منطقه النوبه، لانه بيتكلموا لغه نوبيه، عملت النارمينج داون للفكره من عامه بقيت اقل اخص اقرا خصوصيه. بعد ذاك تعمل تبني فرضيات، الفرضيه بتقول والله يا اخي سكان منطقه النوبه ديل مثلا في حلفا انهم يتعلموا الانجليزيه بسهوله، دي فرضيتك البنيتها. تيجي تعمل ملاحظتك عليه، هل فعلا الناس بيتعلموا الانجليزيه بسهوله ولا لا؟ دي النظريه الانجليزيه في السودان عموميه تحديدا في منطقه حلفا، فرضيتك بين انهم في سريع تعلم الناس ديل، اثبتت فرضيتك عن طريق الملاحظه اللي هو عملت شنو؟ تعزيز او تثبيت لفرضيتك الاولى او تعزيز النظريه العامه. This method يا جماعه اسمها detective method. It as a researcher you're going to think about something in general, look at the theoretical part of that and then theory, and then you come down and try to test to form hypotheses, and these hypotheses are going to prove or disprove it through observation, and then you're going to confirm either the theory is or not. That's more deductive reasoning or deductive approach. Figure or diagram shows it very clear that you bring the theory, which is the general, as I just like the Amra gave was Sudan and this in Sudan, and then you form a hypothesis, and then through observation you are going to confirm either this theory or this hypothesis is tested, it is proved or disproved. Simply تبدأ بنظرية، بعد ذاك تبني فرضية، الفرضية تثبيتها من خلال الملاحظة، بعد ذاك تثبت أو تعزز أو هذه الفرضية صحيحة أو غير صحيحة. This style, this method is called detect. This is what you are doing. If you are following this method, this is surely you are doing your research deductively. Even in grammar, for those we have two types of learners: deductive learners and inductive learners. Deductive learners, those are think about. You begin with the rule first, and then you come down to applying the rule, grammatical rule. الناس اللي بيدرسوا اول حاجه بياخدوا القواعد الجرامر، بعد كده يجيبوا امثله، ده الديدكتيف ليرنرز. الناس اللي بدون امثله بعد كده بيستنبطوا القواعد، ده اللي يسمونها اندكتيف ليرنرز، اللي هو بدوا من الاشمل الاكثر تحديدا، ده اللي يسمون ديدكتيف. ناس بيبدوا من الحاجه المحدده تقودهم للحاجه شنو؟ الشامله او العامه، النظريه العامه، بعد ذاك الحاجه المحدده دي اسمها ديدكتيف. من الحاجه المحدده يرجعوا باك يستنبطوا منها نظريه كامله وعامه، دي اسمها شنو؟ اندكتيف ليرنينج او اندكتيف ستايل. How does this help me to do a research? Yeah, it does very well. So because as a researcher, you need to know the way the way that you think. I think of like general and then I make it into. This is why we call it limitation. This helps you to limit the area for study. Because you cannot study for sure. This will not be very practical if you choose something which is very general. This might not help you to get valid data or valid information about the research that you conduct. So it's very important for you to adopt this kind of methodology, this kind of thinking, this way of As a researcher, you need to know, am I doing my research inductively or deductively? Do I think of the and then narrow it down, or I do the opposite؟ لأن ممكن تقول لي والله يا أخي دائما لما تيجي تعمل يعني العنوان بتاعك بتاع البحث ما تخليه يكون حاجة شاملة وعمومية وصعب إنك تريسيرش. make it very narrow it. عمل حاجة فكرة عامة بعدك narrow it. التعليم في السودان، التعليم في الخرطوم، الأسواق الحرة في الخرطوم والأسواق الحرة في مثلا مدينة بحري. تمام. مشاكل النطق عند الطلاب السودانيين، تعمل لي دراسة حالة مشاكل النطق عند الطلاب جامعة أفريقيا بس. فاهم حاجة عامة تحددها يعني شنو مطبوط الحاجة دي إنك شنو، لأنك ما ممكن تقول مشاكل النطق عند الطلاب السودانيين، ما ممكن تعمل تبحث عن كل السودان وتشوف مشاكل النطق. لازم تعمل شنو narrowing down لشنو. This way of thinking helps you to do so. Man. This is another way of thinking that research must have must have adopted. So it works the other way. It's like the opposite of in deductive reasoning, because it moves from specific observation to broader generalization and theory. You begin with studying a certain group of people, for example, and then you conduct and form, or you conduct any kind of whatever methodology which leads you in the end to form a general theory. Sometimes we call it a bottom up approach, because we begin from specific to general, unlike inductive deductive reasoning or approach. We begin with general to specific. Here we begin with specific to general. يعني شنو from specific to general؟ هنا يا جماعه مثلا ممكن تدرس حاله محدده بتاعت مثلا طلاب شايف انه بينطقوا الباء والباء بشكل ما سليم، فبتبدا تلاحظ لهم وتعمل ملاحظتك، تجري عليهم الملاحظه او اي طريقه من المسؤوليه انك تطلع في النهايه انه والله يا اخي بنظريه عامه انه طلاب جامعه افريقيا الجايين مثلا من منطقه محدده بينطقوا الباء باء، يبقى هنا من الحاجه المحدده غادك للنظريه. هناك بتبدا النظريه بفرضيه انه الناس دول اصلا بيعملوا كده، لو مشكله في الحاجه دي حاول تثبيتها وتوضيحها. هنا بتبدا بالحاجه اللي انت ملاحظها، الملاحظه بتاعتك. الملاحظه بتقودك للفرضيه، هناك الفرضيه بتقودك عبر الملاحظه بتقودك لاثبات او عدمه. هنا الحاجه الملاحظه بتقودك عبر الفرضيه لتكوين نظريه عامه عن شنو الحاجه. عشان كده we begin with specific observation and measures. Then we begin to detect patterns and regularities, or formulate some tentative hypothesis that we can explore, and finally end up developing some general conclusions or theories. Like for example, let me make that very clear for you. I've just explained it in Arabic, and I hope that makes it that clear. But for example, when you study a certain group of people because you notice or you observe that they did something, they share something in general, they are going to form different hypotheses about this phenomena. And during the observation, during conducting this research or this study, you are going to form a general theory about this phenomena or this phenomena. So this is called inductive reasoning. Again, the question is, what does that have to do with my research? Because sometimes as a researcher, you need to think either inductively or deductively. So if you are doing a research beginning with specific observation and then leads you to form a general hypothesis about it, this is called inductive way of learning or inductive way of doing a research. We are doing the opposite, and this most of the time what we do, we form a theory and then we try to narrow it down. It's called deductive way of doing a research. So are you inductive? You need to decide first, are you an inductive researcher or a deductive researcher? This is the question. You need to answer it very well. You need to answer it very carefully, very well. You need to identify what kind of researcher you are. Sometimes are you doing the same. دراستك حتعملها دي حتبدا من الملاحظه بعد ذاك للنظريه، ولا حتبدا اول شيء تعمل نظريه او في مفهوم عام بعد ذاك المفهوم ده تحاول تثبته من خلال من خلال يعني دراسة مجموعة محددة. This is very important يا شباب. برضه this diagram shows how clear it is. بنبدأ ب observation. أصلا إن في أطفال في المنطقة أحيانا بصار جدا. Hmm. بدك you follow certain pattern. You follow certain pattern. You know. Then you form tentative hypothesis. Tentative معناها موقت أيام. بعدك you're going to form a theory. Again we begin with observation. لاحظت حاجة محددة. بعدك اتبعت طريقة محددة وبنيت فرضية مؤقتة. الفرضية بتقودك بالنهاية لشنو؟ للنظرية. طيب ناس عندهم مشاكل في العيون، بنيت ملاحظتك على هذا الأساس. عندك بنيت تلاحظ يعني عملت باترن محدد، باترن اللي هو طريقة محددة في اتباع هذه الملاحظة. عندك بنيت فرضية مؤقتة تنتج إنه والله يا بفتكر إنه نازل لأنه النازل كلهم بيشربوا لبن بشكل مسرع. طيب السبب خلى عيونهم فيها مثلا لون عامل كده. بعد ذاك تشوف أيوه يس يس يس، تطلع بنظرية إنه شرب اللبن يؤثر على لون العيون بناء على ملاحظتك، بناء على إثبات هذه الملاحظة والفرضية المؤقتة غادت للنظرية دي. So this is why I call it very clear that because it begins observation and then you follow a certain pattern, so you form a tentative hypothesis and then you are going to form a general theory about this observation. This observation leads you to that. And now we come to a very important point. When you write a research, choosing a research topic, how can I choose the topic of my research? To choose the topic that you should choose the topic that you are interested in, you like it very much, you read a lot about it, this area of interest, you like it very much, and then you read a lot about it and enjoy reading about it. The research process is more relevant if you care about your topic. So it is very important in the early beginning that you should from now, ya shabab, identify or know or decide what kind of area you are interested in. Literature, linguistics, psychology, translation, poetry, you know, psycholinguistics, segmental phonology, ALT, and so on. And then you read a lot about it. But then you should narrow your topic to something manageable. Narrow your topic, you should adopt either inductive or deductive way of doing this. If your topic is too broad, you will find too much information and not be able to focus. عشان كده we narrowed it down. عشان نبدأ من أعم أشمل لأخص أو من أخص لأشمل. The background reading can help you choose and limit the scope of your topic. So to sum it up, you need to read a lot about the area of interest and then you can decide your topic from the area you like very much. And then don't make your topic very broad. ما تتكلم عن حاجة شاملة وعامة، اللي حاجة محددة زي ما قلنا. عشان كده جماعة واحدة من المشاكل اللي لاحظت عندكم، دايرين نعمل دراسة نبدأ بالأشمل وبعد ذاك نعمم. إذا بدأت بالأشمل عايز تعمم طوالي تعمل كيس ستادي، يعني تحدد مكان الدراسة بتاعتك. تقول دراسة حالة تحدد حتة محددة وناس محددين يقرأ عليهم الدراسة. فدي مهمة جدا عشان to narrow down your research area topic. Think of the who, what and when, where and why questions. When you choose a topic, why did you choose the topic? What interests you about it? Do you have an opinion about the issue involved? Who are the information provided on this topic? Who might publish information about it? Who is affected by the topic? Do you know of organizations or institutions affiliated with the topic? So look at this way of, you know, broad thinking about how can I choose my topic? Why I choose this topic? Who are involved in the topic? How can I collect data of my research? Where I can find the data about the topic of my research? If you don't answer this question, it will not be easy for you to conduct the research. بحثت عن شنو وليه عملته عن الحاجة دي والحاجة دي ممكن يكون يعني ممكن يعني يساهم فيها بمديه المعلومات شنو، والقى معلومات عنها وين؟ في كتب، في مجلات، في فيديوز، في شنو، عشان يجمع الداتا بعد الحاجة. ما لم أجاوب على الأسئلة دي it will not be easy for me to choose my topic. Thinking of how can we choose a topic. What, for example, what are the major questions for this topic? Is there a debate about the topic? Are there a range of issues and viewpoints to consider? Think about this argumentative idea or points about the topic of your research. Where is your topic important at the local, national, international level? Are there specific places affected by the topic? When is or was your topic important? Is it a current event or an historical issue? Do you want to compare your topic by time periods? So this will help you a lot to think a lot about your topic. If you look at this question carefully and then you try to answer them, this will help you to choose a very researchable topic. The topic, consider the following. Researchability. Is it researchable? في ناس they choose a topic which is not researchable. ما ممكن تعمل عليه بحث يعني. topic مقفول. هل هو researchable? You can research it. You can find data about it. You can find where I can conduct my research. Who will help me to consult my to conduct my research. When I can make this research applicable and so on. Is it significance عنده مغزى عنده دلالة مفيد للمجتمع غير مفيد منه فايدة يعني ولا ساعي بس مجرد research. Qualification, is it what makes it qualified? What makes my topic qualified? Does it address any importance in an area? The research topic is qualified if it is easy for you to find the data about it. Narrowness, don't make it a broad. خليك دائما حدد المشكلة تكون specific. not a book title or subtitle. ما يكون عنوانك بتاع التوبيك بتاعي يكون title. يعني أهمية المعارف لا ده كتاب أو title أو subtitle. يكون specific محدد. contribute something بيسهم في المجال اللي انت عارفه هو البحث. reflect a problem. لازم اي topic يكون فيه مشكله. تمام، البحث عشان تيجي تحل المشكله بتاعت دي. اثر كذا على كذا، امكانيه كذا لكذا، البحث عن كذا عن وهذا. لازم تكون في مشكله بحثيه بنهايه البحث انت توجد لها حلول او تفترض لها حلول. So it's very important for you to make sure that your topic is researchable, significant, qualified, narrow, not like a book or a title or a subtitle. It should be very specific. It should contribute something to the field and should reflect a problem. So even it's very important to know the characteristics of the research title. How can I choose my title? عنوان بحثي اكتبه كيف؟ According to rhetoric scholars Hurston and Kinney, while making a good title for a paper involves ensuring that the title of the research accomplishes four goals as mentioned below. So to choose a good title, your title should accomplish the following four goals, which I'm going to explain in the coming slide.